we're even more excited that you can not only see us, but you can actually hear us. We are in pretty incredible times, like times in my lifetime that I don't think have been seen. So in a certain way, yay for us, humanity has clearly called upon the forces of the universe to create an entirely new way to be on this planet. And so we are excited that we get to share some time and space and energy with you tonight. And when we were talking earlier, we were thinking about, okay, what's tonight? What's really in the air? And there's been, whether you like it or not, there's been time and space that's been carved out for us. And within that time and space, we've certainly had choice. And at the same time, I would imagine that many of us have felt, I know I have, that we have less freedoms in a certain way, in that we don't get to do all the things that we used to be able to do, whether it be work or play in certain areas, in certain ways, proximity, closeness, all these things have been modified for us. Again, we have free will within that. And given a non-chosen, if I can say that, a non-chosen kind of time and space, it allows for a lot of things to emerge. And I think two things can certainly emerge without much effort. And that is questions, like lots of time and space can allow for lots of questions to show up. The other thing that can emerge is concerns, like, what the fuck? And, you know.
That qualifies as a concern.
Right. That's my general concern usually. And no matter what the language of the concern is, usually underneath the concern is like some fear. And sometimes we can't get to the fear unless we actually voice the concern. And so instead of us telling you a bunch of things tonight, we thought we'd let you guys lead the call with any questions that you have that you think might be useful. Keelan so beautifully showed up to today when we met and was like, well, I watched last night's call, and what I noticed was that, like, someone asked a question last time, and what came from it was this really important kind of content. And so instead of us saying, okay, well, here we're going to deliver some, you know, content, you know, whatever we feel is important, we thought, let's give you the keys to the castle. Let's let you drive this ship tonight. So here's how we're going to roll. We're going to do some body connection. We're going to tune in and tap into our own energy, our own breath, our own movement, our own frequency. And then we're going to give some space after that for you to type out some questions or concerns that you have. And then we'll just go through them, and we'll kind of see what emerges from that. So.
Can I say something? We don't have your image on the screen over here.
Oh.
What do you see? You see the one that says Genius Generation?
We see a black screen with two circles, a circle and a semicircle signifying a person, but no image of anybody.
Oh. Well, that's no good.
Interesting. Okay. Does anyone else see us on their video?
Click that and pin that.
Yes.
I see you on the little image on the video, but not the big image.
We're gonna.
Okay. Something that works, you guys, is if there's like 3 dots on the top right of our little image, and you can click it and then press pin video. And that'll work on your screen. And let me know when you get that. Yeah, like Deborah said. Hey, Deborah.
Does it matter if we do it or no?
I think it only matters for our screen. Yeah. And I like to see everyone.
Okay. And that's how it works.
Yeah. And let us know, like, give us a thumbs up if that worked.
Well,
that worked for y'all?
Oh, there it is. I see a person. I see a single person now.
Oh, because it's
There are 3 of us, so the math doesn't add up.
Right. Well, so I think that it's going to pin them to the thing. It'll pin
They have to
their.
click on our picture.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, click on, like Deborah kind of wrote it out in the chat.
Oh,
She says if you click the pin sign, you can make them bigger. And if you're on a phone, double click on our picture and it'll pin to your screen. Just learned that today.
Oh.
Christy got it. Yeah. And if you're on a phone, there's not a button. Yeah, so there are multiple screens that say Genius. One is just black and one is our photo. And you'll want our photo because we're going to do this body connection together. So it'll be helpful to see us. And we'll run through it the first time so you can watch us do it. We'll break it down and then we'll do it together. So it'll be kind of step by step. How's that sound, you guys? We're going to do body connection first and then leave room for conversation, for questions, concerns. So as you're connecting to your body, what's going to happen is you're going to connect to what's really important to you, for you. And so that's a good way. If you don't have a question right now, that's fine. Connect with your body first and then see if something comes up after that. You don't have to know what you're going to ask yet.
so we're going to connect to the earth and to the cosmos, and we're going to bring it. If you've done stage 12 before, this is kind of like that. It's also a little bit like stage 11. So we're kind of bringing 2 of these elements together in what we call connection to abundance. And so we're going to be going to 2 different spots here. So we're going to start. Can you see us? I'm going to scoot back.
Yeah.
How are we doing there? Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna start down in the squat position with our hands and our feet on the floor, and we're gonna breathe in our connection to the earth, and then we're gonna pull that energy, and we're gonna go all the way up to our root. So you're gonna be cupping underneath here. So you're gonna literally have your hands on that place that your mom said, get your hands off there.
Don't touch that.
Yeah, leave that alone. We're gonna say, yes,
Definitely.
touch that, definitely touch that, it's okay, it's sacred. And then, so we're basically drawing the energy up, and in one breath, so that's the inhale, we're gonna come out, and then on the exhale, we're gonna come all the way up the front side of the body, getting the throat, third eye, crown, all the way up, that's the exhale. Then we're gonna pull the cosmic energy into the crown. We're gonna come all the way into the heart position. So we're gonna come all the way down to the heart, and that's the in-breath. And we're gonna do this and see if we can do it without smacking each other, which might,
I don't know.
I feel like I might get smacked, but on purpose. I feel like that could happen. So we're gonna do it in slow motion again. So you're gonna draw the earth energy all the way up to the root. This is inhale, 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 the whole time, that's the inhale. Then the exhale, you're coming in and all the way up, exhaling all the way up the front side of the body. And then you're gonna inhale all the way to the heart, inhale, inhale, inhale as you're coming out. And then exhale, this whole motion is the exhale all the way down. Cool. Now, how do you breathe? You got 4 options. You can either breathe in through your nose, out to your mouth. You can breathe in your nose, out your nose. You can breathe in your mouth, out your mouth, or you can breathe in your mouth, out your nose. I think I hit them all. Okay. And the answer to that is, how are you naturally breathing right now? Do that. Go with that. And if you like doing all different versions, then play with that.
Yeah,
So,
let it change if it changes.
Yep, exactly. All right, so
I'd like to just say that one more way, just to review one more time before we start. So, all right. Hey, Judy. All right, one more person coming in here. Awesome. So the inhale, when you're coming into your body, either from the bottom or the top, that's the inhale. And coming out of your body is the exhale. So for example, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And we'll continue, Dr. Brian will continue to cue us the whole way. So I
yes.
think we're ready.
So find yourself in the squat position. Bring your hands as best you can flat, and just breathe in the energy of the earth. I like to say that, no matter what your mom's situation was, if you had a really lousy mom, if you got mommy issues, then, this is the original mother, and she's got no issues with you. So you can rewrite any relationship that didn't serve you at the time that it was happening, and you can reorientate to a new, more whole relationship. So just breathing in that earth energy in your feet, the soles of your feet, palms of your hand. And then on the next inhale, we're gonna pull that earth energy all the way up to the root. This is all inhale. And then we're gonna exhale now all the way out. This is all exhale up. Good. And then feel your connection. Stretch your whole body up to the cosmos. You might even feel like your fingertips are being pulled, coming on your tippy toes if you can. Just breathing in that energy. And then on the next breath, pull that cosmic energy in through the crown. Inhale through the heart. Inhale as you bring your arms out, and then exhale all the way down the front side of the body. And then inhale up to the root as you come out. That's all inhale. Exhale all the way up. And repeat. Inhale to the heart. That's inhale. Exhale all the way down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to do one more round. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale all the way down. And then take one more inhale and leave one hand at your root and bring your other hand to your heart. So you have one hand at your root, one hand at your heart, and just feel if there's a conversation that's happening between these two. So this is really just an opportunity for you to experience these two different energies, these two different locations on your body, and let them have a conversation if they want. They may be just staring at each other. One may be talking, the other one's just listening. You may feel that communication happening with movement. You may feel it with breath. You may feel it with sensation or energy flow. And just notice that and allow it. You can exaggerate it a little bit if you want. Explore it for a few more moments. Good, make some sound. Good. Make another sound. Another sound. One more sound. Different sound. And then bring your hands off your body and just let your body breathe. Move, stretch, position. Allow the energy, allow the breath, allow any movement. Just allow your body to explore in whatever way it wants. And just notice what's different. Good. Cool. And we won't necessarily do this in a group way. Oh. What happened for you, Brian? My chair disappeared. That's how powerful that was. Physical things became invisible. Just right now with your mute button on or off, just say like a word or two that just anchors in what you're noticing different. I feel more centered, calm, and energized.
I feel more connected, grounded, and present.
I feel more present, ease, and rootedness.
Cool. Beautiful. So we're going to give everyone a moment as you're sharing to yourself, just saying it out loud, acknowledging that change. And for those of you who have already completed that and you've got a question or a concern that you want to voice or ask, just pop it in the chat box.
Yeah.
And if you're new to Zoom, if you scroll down to the bottom, I think it's towards the right end of things, and it says chat, I believe. And if for some reason you just want to send something just to us, you can actually click and it'll say to everyone. And if you just click to the Genius generation, it'll just show up on our screen. It won't show up on anyone else's, and we'll know to not read who you are.
And while we're waiting on people to type in, Greg says he has a comment, but he wants to say it.
Oh,
He wants to say
perfect.
it. So, Greg, I'm going to turn on your microphone, and we want to hear what you have to say while everyone's like putting their stuff in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, go
Hello.
for it.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah. Hi. I was just thinking about this lately, that I've noticed that y'all and people in general have kind of been framing this time of like the coronavirus time as a thing that's like really difficult and struggling and hard. But my experience of that hasn't been that at all. It's been those things, of course, but it's also been a time of like a lot of positive things, a lot of like really positive things. So I guess I just wanted to put a plug for like all the good things that are coming out of this time. It's like, for me, it's really good also. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think on our end of things, we want to acknowledge what is front and center for many, not all people. And I share the same thing. I have had a huge amount of change, opening, lots of liberation in this time. So I'm really glad that you led with that. And let's add, we've got question, we've got concern, let's add celebration. Because I really feel like this is it's something that we definitely, we're not squirmish and famish, we're nourish and flourish. And while people may experience more fully their squirmishness and their famished parts, and that's authentic and true, we're also really about the celebration and about the abundance. So I really appreciate you leading off with that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that was it. That was all I was going to say. Just there's a lot of good things happening for me, and I just wanted to put that plug in. So
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's a huge range of what's opening right now, and I want to kind of acknowledge the questions that are being asked, because you guys are on similar threads. Like, how do we be with, I haven't read all these yet, but what I'm getting right now is like, how do we be with the huge range of experience that's happening right now? And it's just that, and that's kind of what we teach, is like being with the huge range of experience. Being with all the, and we've talked about layers, being with like one person who's like really struggling and another person who is like, I'm making so many breakthroughs, like this is the best time of my life.
Yeah.
And maybe you're that, both of those versions are you. That can be one person, and you can have all of that encapsulated in a single day. Like I know I've had that. And so that's kind of what's required right now for flourishing, is that flexibility. Like Jennifer asked, what is the best way, if any, to respect the fear of others? Beautiful question. Do you want me to read the other ones, and then they might like coalesce?
Yeah.
They might like find central threads.
Sure.
Versus like going one at a time.
Sure.
Deborah said, I love that you guys did them publicly. I think that's cool. I've been reading Dr. Joe Dispenz's work, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, How to Lose Your Mind and Make Another. Does his work relate to your work? And how do we stay in possibility during this time of so much pain and uncertainty? So beautiful, yes. Mitch says, while acknowledging the pain, death, and destruction that COVID-19 has brought, I personally have been tuning into a deeper connection with nature. Yeah, it has been an awesome feeling, bringing me to tears of joy on practically every morning sunrise walk. Woohoo! Yeah. By deepening me.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah. Hey, I can be a better listener for others who are not in this vibe. Yes. And I want to say one quick thing. These are beautiful questions. Like these all totally relate to like, how do we be with the huge range that's happening? And a lot of times, like Greg, you mentioned that we're really doing a lot of acknowledging of the pain. And I'm curious what you have to say about this, because from my perspective, like when someone's in pain, I find that like that needs to be acknowledged first. And if it's not, it kind of like stays there and hangs on and might live in the back burner. So like if we're in a really resourceful and energized and loving place, then it's our role to be more of the giver in that dynamic. And that's all I want to say to that.
Yeah, so totally great questions. And I think if I were to weave a few of the threads together, part of this time, in my estimation, is the recognition of the interconnection of humanity. So, you know, this little thing that supposedly exists, this virus, is helping us recognize the power of the invisible. Now, it seems to be through kind of more of a negative way. And we're watching a polarization of ourselves with each other relative to this thing that we can't see. It's also bringing up in a lot of people the awareness of that connection, like as Mitch, you say, between the invisible realm of spirit as it is woven through matter, you know, say nature. And part of the lesson of that recognition of interconnectedness with humanity is when you have widened your range and you have felt deep suffering, you open yourself up for profound joy, peace, freedom, liberation, compassion. And so as we're widening that, when we are in the presence of someone who is suffering and we've done our own suffering, we've experienced it, it's not a big deal. Like we're not going to lose our joy by being in the presence of them. And in fact, the capacity to find joy and feel joy in the presence of suffering and hold that space of peace and trust and joy while someone is suffering is, I think, a call. It is an opportunity for us. I feel like it's really, really important for many people on the planet, as many who are suffering, to be popping up into joy. And I think that's why there is this thread that's happening right now and where people are having that experience, because it's imperative. Like if we're all one, essentially, then as one end of the spectrum is amplifying, it's also amplifying the other end of the spectrum. And somebody's got to call that ticket. So, ding. And so it's really available to us to experience that. If that makes sense, if that's useful.
Yeah, and I'd like to say, I love what you said. And there's also a central theme of like that you spoke on. And I'm totally getting right now why they asked us, like, how do you be with one person here and then one person here? How do we respect this range and how do we be with all this? That's literally what we do all day. Mm-hmm. We be with one person at one table who's like deeply grieving. one person who is like having an ecstatic awakening, one person who is like feeling determined or like very powerful, and we go from one to the next. And how do we fluidly just like be with all of that, respecting all of it at the same time? And that sounds like what y'all are asking. And I would say that one thing that this time is asking of us is to be so present in this present moment. And like Brian said, you can be in your joy and be with someone who's not there, and you don't lose anything. And you can just be with that, and it doesn't stick to you. So when we're around someone and their vibe sort of sticks to us, or their mood, they say like mood, attitude, vibe is contagious. It's just because like we have a little feeling to do around that. Mm-hmm. So when you've really felt a lot, when you've really opened up a lot of different feeling channels in you, you can be around just about anybody and they won't bother you. If their vibe won't bother you.
Totally. And if they do, then just like let it, let it bother you. Let it amplify they're showing you what you need to feel. And so just lean into that, feel it. It's not contagious. It's just an amplification of what is. So just like a virus, like the people who are being most affected physiologically by the virus are people whose systems are already lowered. They're already a lower state. The same thing is true of emotions. Like if you're already at a lower vibrational emotional state, then you're going to be more often more affected by the same. But if you're at a higher bandwidth, not better, but just you can experience more. Let's say you're in a joyful state and someone comes in who's raging angry, like you may drop down to be in relationship with them. And right afterwards, you may feel pissed. And if you have a really wide, expansive, flexible, fluid, dynamic emotional range, then you're gonna experience that anger, and then you're gonna pop right back into joy. And if they don't have that range, they're gonna stay kind of in that anger and then drop back down to some level of neutral, but they're not gonna be able to expand back into joy. So a wide emotional range is kind of unable.
And one more thing for the empaths out there who are like, but when I'm around someone, I literally feel what they're feeling. And what I want to say is like, you don't have to. When you can be okay with someone else, here's something we might do a repeat after me. I'm okay when someone else is not okay. And you might just like say that to yourself and see how that feels in your body. I'm okay when someone else is not okay. You can let someone have their experience and you don't have to do it for them. You don't have to do their feelings for them or do their work for them. You can just be with them and let them have all that is theirs. It's common to like dive in if you're a person who does this, to unconsciously dive into their stuff because you might be better at feeling it than them.
Yeah.
And you don't want them to be uncomfortable. And I'm just here to tell you, you don't have to, if no one's told you lately, because that is their sacred gift. It's their journey. It's their responsibility. And yes, you can contribute. Yes, you can help. And your presence and witnessing and not doing it for them is the help.
Yeah. You can Sherpa their shit up the mountain if you want. And it's important to know that you don't have to. Yeah. You can be like, that's your bag. You can carry that. I'll walk with you up the mountain, but you can carry that. Is there any?
Yeah. There are a couple more questions that I want to read. Yeah. Marie says, what's the larger impact of quarantine on humanity? What are the long-term impacts, personal and collective? Interested in your, all caps, opinions. I see what you did there.
Well, regardless of our opinions, there's a great body of science out there that says humans that stay apart do not do well. Like, it is not our nature to be separate. Actually, can I share our experience earlier? Yeah. So Keelan Keelan had an interaction that was intense. We all have interactions which are intense. And she came up to me, she's like, I need a hug. And I was like, okay. So like I gave her a hug, and in that moment, and then we talked a little bit about it. And then I was like, oh man, this is a double hug. So we double hugged. And I was just thinking, like, kind of after the fact, like, I'm so grateful that we have the capacity to have that human interaction, and that we trust that our immune system and our ability to connect heart on heart, immune system to immune system, to freely share like our like love and appreciation for each other trumps our fear of little microscopic things. And you know, like, the proof is in the fucking pudding. Like, I am 50 something years old. I've kind of stopped keeping track, and like, I just don't symptom that often. I just don't. And I do a lot of things in my body to make sure that I stay connected. And I have an incredible trust for my body and its capacity to heal. I've also taken my body to further edges than a lot of people would feel comfortable with. And so, like, is it a good thing for prolonged periods of time for people to be in separation and isolation? Like, no. And what we don't know is what we don't know, and what we're about to see is the fallout from isolation, which has nothing to do with the COVID virus. There will be fallout for humans not being in close proximity, and it's not going to look good. And this will be a moment in time for us as people, as humanity, to really question what's the value of doing this. And I'm not saying we should not have quarantine. I'm just saying it's going to allow us to question how we meet this, because we will again. We will again. This is going to happen again. I promise you, mark my words, within at least a year, we'll have another one. Will we do the same thing the same way? Let's see. That's not a fear thing. That's just we're at that level in terms of the crossroads of humanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a fan of hugs over bugs. There you go. Make that t-shirt or bumper sticker. But
And we don't mean to like make the virus not important.
yeah.
Like we say like it's a little bug. And I just want to say, like, a virus can whoop somebody's ass for sure.
Yeah.
And that is the reason why we take great care and invest in ourselves, invest in our bodies, so that we don't have to be scared. The idea of something invisible that we can't even, like, we truly don't even fully understand scientifically, that we have to protect from it, and it could be anywhere. Like, what a story to create fear among humanity. Like, that is the perfect storm of something that will blanket humanity in fear, unless the person trusts their body.
Yeah. And what if we place the reciprocal amount of energy that we have laid out towards fear of an invisible virus, which exists, right? And we place in exact opposition a level of trust and faith in the invisible forces that connect all of us through love, through presence, through trust, through exchange of peace and space. If we value that in equal exchange, we would be experiencing a different reality than what we have right now. And I believe that that is the question. So the focus on the invisible, very important. Which side of that coin do we want to accentuate and develop? That's the question that we're at right now.
Yeah. We have a couple more questions. I just want to read. I guess I'm also asking on a personal level, while I am having a shift from a fear-based way of being to a love and possibility way of being, how do I live into possibility and joy and hopefulness in the midst of dire predictions? Can you speak more directly to your thoughts on Joe Dispenza work on envisioning your life and bringing into being what you envision? And then can I tie in one more question with this? Because I think they could be related. I'm feeling a tremendous increase in my power. It sometimes comes out as bluntness or being very direct. While that has authenticity to it, how can we be in our power, yet speak it in ways that are the most engaging?
Cool.
Most compassionate and authentic, but conscious and compassionate.
Cool. I want to hit that one first. I feel like you have the first one.
Okay, cool.
So that's a great question. They're all great questions. That one I want to speak directly to, because it's like saying like, okay, I'm going to start running and I'm going to start training next week. And so here's my question. How can I be prepared for a marathon in 2 weeks? So that's 26 miles. I'm going to start running Monday. I've cleared my schedule. And then in 2 weeks from that Monday, I want to be able to run 26 miles. How do I do that? Oh man, you need a different training schedule. So you're going to be gawky and awkward and say mean things to nice people. You're going to be a bitch or a dick or whatever version of that is for you on your way to being powerful while compassionate at the same time. So you're asking a PhD question and you're wanting to skip the steps of going through high school and getting your bachelor's and your master's on your way to writing the thesis. So it's a very noble thing. Like I'm on that path too. I've been working on it for years and I'm still show up as an asshole sometimes because there's parts of me that are still like 15 and working that shit out. So give yourself permission to be 15 and work that shit out because you didn't get to when you were 15. So me too. And there are moments where I'm brilliantly powerful and strong and compassionate too, and peaceful all along, and that's new. So stay the course, start running Monday, give yourself, a week to run a mile, and then over time, eventually you'll get to 26 miles and you'll have the marathon down.
I love that. And listen to the moment. Listen to each, if you're asking a PhD level question, great, cool. And each situation will present itself, and the more present you are to the moment, and the less in your head, in your stories, in your mile a minute thinking, the more present you are, the more you're gonna know how to choose that moment. And this goes along with Deborah's question too, of how do I be where I wanna be, where I envision, and also not totally ignore all this stuff that's going on. And my first response is be really, really present to what's happening, because we can't know how to choose unless we're really, really present. And that's different than, we can be in this moment and then we can think about being in this moment. And those aren't the same things. And what's happening now really isn't that much different than what's been happening for a really long time, for thousands of years. There's always some shit you can tune into. And now it's easier to find, and definitely what it's going to be about. And so you can tune into any level of despair, or bad predictions, like you said, you can tune into that all day. And I want to ask the question, where do you want to get your information from? Where's your source? And I'm not talking about source of news. I'm talking about your source of energy, your source of knowing, your source of trust. Tune into where you get your guidance, and you'll know what to do. And I just sharing a little bit about our personal lives, how much news do we watch?
Somewhere between 0 and 3%.
We're tuned in so much that we don't need to ask people whose job it is to write and sell clicks, sell papers, sell whatever they're selling through what they're writing under the guise of, you need to know this to protect yourself. Like we don't do that. And there were some times where like when we were like wanting to be open and stay legal and make sure that we were doing the things that we needed to do, where we were like checking in once a day.
Yeah.
We didn't dive deep into the news because we know what we'll find. And so if you feel attracted to the news, that probably means you have some panic that you need to feel. You probably just need to feel it, and it's okay. And this is like what we were saying earlier. It's like in my life, it's like going from one table to the next, going from one person to the next person. When I'm really, really present, I'm only with the person who's with me. And the same as when I'm not working, like when I'm really, really present, I'm only with what's in that moment. And if you can't shake the panicky news feeling to get to your vision, move your body. Do the things that we do, like tune into some workshops about how to move energy and how to move your feelings. Just move it, sound, emotion, breath, feeling. Do what works for you, because it still works for you. And you'll find that that energy that you moved actually fuels your vision, fuels where you want to go. And somewhere in between the vision of what you want to happen, what you want to create, and like all of that pain that you could choose to tune into, somewhere in the middle is this present moment of what's real right now. And that's where the magic actually happens, is being in that present moment right now.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah. I love you guys coming on these calls. This is really fun.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Judy said, oh, I love what Judy said. You guys see this? Okay. Judy said, Mitch, asking those questions feel like guidelines to the answers. I love our community. I love you guys. I super agree. Sometimes the best thing we can have is a good question. Sometimes the question is better than any answer. And a really good question might just lead you to the next best question and the next best questions, and continue to pull what it is that you're asking forward.
Beautiful.
I guess, yeah.
So, so we want to honor the time, and we also really want to appreciate everyone for coming on the call tonight. We will continue doing this so long as there is kind of this in-between world that we're living in. And we also want to let you know of a couple things that are coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks, we're offering for the first time our intro talk and demonstration online. So please let people know that we are open and available, and they can call the front and we will get them a link to that class, which is 2 weeks from tonight at 7:15.
May 14th.
May 14th, thank you.
Yeah.
And we also have, we've been doing our body connection classes, what was our SRI classes, and we've kind of started to change things a little bit. So if you're interested in that, we have a few of them available on our website. You can go to shop and you can find how you can connect to those as they are now online as videos to watch. So we do them live, and then we also put them available for purchase afterwards. So check those out. Those are great things to work with if you are still being held in captivity. Those are great ways to connect with your body. And the primary source of news ought to be right here. Your connection to you, your connection to source, spirit, however you want to put that. And then your capacity to really hone in on what other news out there is important, and filter that process in a way that supports you is going to increase dramatically. So thank you all so much for being here tonight. We'll send out another email for our next one 2 weeks from tonight. And
I want to ask one more thing. Yeah, so you'll see an email with,
Oh, yeah.
with an invitation to the introductory talk. So who is the person, I
oh,
want to ask you,
yes,
do you know where I'm going?
yeah.
Okay,
Who inspired this? Is that what you're talking about?
no.
Okay, well, I'm going to say that.
You say that next.
Okay.
Who is the person that you know? Like, thank you for coming on this call. We love supporting you guys, and we want to ask you, who do you know that needs to know about this work? And the best way to get them to the intro talk is just to give them our phone number. Our phone number's on everything. You guys know where to find it, and they can call us and they can sign up for the intro talk that way. So thank you for being in community, and thank you for supporting us too while we navigate this time the way we're navigating this time. So thanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to give a big thanks to, he's on the call tonight, Scott Rivieri. I had a phone conversation with him. He, just who he is, literally, he didn't ask for anything. It was just literally me talking with him, and I was inspired by something he said that is really the origins of this call tonight. So thank you, Scott. Mwah. We love you. Of course, we love all of you, and I wanted to make sure that I gave that shout out to Scott.
Yeah.
As like I said, he was the one who inspired this. So
Yep.
thank you all so much for being here, and we will catch you somewhere real
Yeah.
soon, whether it's 2 weeks from now on this
Thank
call.
you.
Good night.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.